Hey guys, this is the Non-Mouse. This is another episode in my series looking at the errors in the Quran. Specifically, this sub-series will focus on historical errors. This video is, as always, dedicated to the Muslims watching and all the non-Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, ex-Muslims watching who will use this video to help their Muslim friends see the truth. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. One thing we've noticed over and over again is that the Quran is filled with common misconceptions that the Arabs of Muhammad's era had, rather than having any lasting divine knowledge. If you want a quick recap, you can go to the channel and watch the videos. They're quick, I promise. This trend is going to continue as we discuss how the Quran is filled with lots of historically inaccurate fairy tales and folk tales that the Arabs commonly traded around in their day that Muhammad tried to pass off as historical fact. Today, we'll talk about just one of these folk tales that never happened, but Muhammad tries to say happened, and it is the wall of iron between two mountains. The author of the Quran repeats the Syrian legend of Alexander the Great as a great king who helped a tribe of people build a massive wall of iron between two mountains. Now, if there was such a gigantic, massive wall of iron between two mountains, we would have seen at least some kind of evidence for it nowadays. But even with satellite imaging and near universal exploration of this world, no archaeologist has been able to find even the slightest trace of such a massive structure. And this is impossible, unless this never happened. Quran, Surah 18, Ayah 96 to 97. Bring me blocks of iron. At length, when he had filled up the space between the two steep mountainsides, he said, blow with your bellows. Then, when he made it red as fire, he said, bring me, that I may pour over it molten lead. Thus, they were made powerless to scale it or dig through it. This is almost the exact same as a story we find in the Syriac legends of Alexander. And Alexander commanded and fetched 3,000 smiths, workers of iron, and 3,000 men, workers of brass. And they put down brass and iron, and kneaded it as a man kneads when he works clay. Then they brought it and made a gate, the length of which was 12 cubits, and its breadth height 8 cubits. And he made a lower threshold from mountain to mountain, and the length of which was 12 cubits. The history of Alexander the Great, being the Syriac version, page 153. The connection between the Quran version and the folktale is apparent. Not only is the Quran story verifiably false, but it was stolen from folktales. Why is it that the Quran takes a piece of orated fiction that we can prove is false and tries to pass it off as true history? If the Quran was truly from God, wouldn't God know that this was not real and just a made-up story? So as we've seen from our discussion so far, the Quran is not only filled with scientific errors, but also with historical errors and folk tales that no knowledgeable person would have gotten wrong. These historical errors all sound like misunderstandings illiterate people who rely on rumors rather than the use of actual research or divine knowledge would believe. These mistakes are also characteristic of common misconceptions that the ancient Arabs had about other ethnic groups and the world around them. I wonder why that is. Why does it keep seeming like the author of the Quran just takes stuff from people he heard and say that it's for divine revelation?